Wolf, get away from those sheep.
Bollocks.
You're listening to the Wolf and the Shepherd podcast, broadcasting from Fort Worth in the great state of Texas. Now, get ready for this episode of the Wolf and the Shepherd.
Welcome to this episode of the Wolf and the Shepherd. Today, we're going to be talking about absinthe. Absinthe that makes the heart grow fonder. Now, before we get started, there's one thing that I do want to add, and I want to add it right up here in the front of the podcast because we're kind of lazy, and so if it ever comes out where I've got to edit this, I just want to put it in the front. But we do not have an official absinthe sponsor. So if you're interested in being an absinthe sponsor, please get a hold of us.
And Lucid, if you were listening, I would like you to be our absinthe sponsor because you're my favorite absinthe currently.
Okay, good call there.
Yeah.
All right, so now that we're done with business, let's talk about absinthe.
Yeah. Absinthe, also known as the Green Fairy. Yeah, just like the Incredible Hulk's brother who's into Broadway show tunes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the Green Fairy also.
It's too bad he doesn't have that many appearances in the movies and everything.
Yeah. Well, they're bit embarrassed of him, a bit like, you remember when Scooby-Doo, they had to get rid of Scrappy-Doo because of the ratings.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
lots of backlash.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Scrappy-Doo would have came out today with like Twitter and everything else? He would have been canceled probably after 2 episodes.
I hated him.
I did too.
Not talk about him ever again on this podcast.
Yeah, let's not bring this down. Absinthe.
Absinthe. Now, for those of you who don't know what absinthe is, I recommend you go out and buy some. Find yourself a blacked out kind of like 4 or 5 days where you don't have anything going on and just sit back and enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also need to mention only go out and buy it if you're of legal age to purchase it.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to have to steal it.
Right. So, we don't want to advocate.
We don't advocate
theft.
stealing absinthe.
Right.
Right.
Other things
that
you could share.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring.
Yeah, especially in digital format.
Exactly. If
MP3, MP4, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We miss you, Napster.
Yeah. So anyway, absinthe, it's an anise, which I think the full name comes from like aniseed or something, which is kind of licoricey. It's an anise-flavored spirit derived from plants, including flowers and leaves of wormwood, which together with green anise, sweet fennel, and other medicinal and culinary herbs are put together, and they make absinthe from it.
Why do English people pronounce the H in herbs?
Herbs?
Yeah.
Herbs? I don't know. They didn't explain it when they first introduced us to the words.
Well, there was some stand-up comedian that had a whole bit about it, but it's kind of weird how in America we call it herb, but in Britain it's herb, which is the way it's spelled.
Yeah.
So I got to give the English that part. But yeah, then as you're, going over this, you said herb.
Yeah.
You threw me off. I thought you were talking about some dude that was living in the trailer park down the way from the studio.
Yeah. But then the Americans also messed up with calling Arkansas when Arkansas was there for the taking.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So anyway, those ingredients, it sounds like a lot of unnecessary information. All you really need to know about absinthe, if you've not been familiar with it in the past, is it's green and it will mess you up really quickly.
Right.
Yeah. Now, have you had absinthe before?
I have, multiple times.
Yeah. Now, you actually had it in Europe as well, didn't you?
No, I've never been to Europe.
Oh, that's another dream, which wasn't true.
Right, right. Now, I know we make a lot of stuff up, but my trip to Europe hadn't happened yet. Now, by the next podcast, maybe I backpacked in Europe through college.
Yeah. Now, ironically, it was probably absinthe, which gave me that dream that you'd actually had absinthe in Europe.
That could be true. Yeah. And if I have some absinthe later on tonight, maybe I'll remember my backpacking trip through Europe.
Now, what did you think of absinthe when you had it?
The very first time I had absinthe was at a buddy's house. Rest in peace, Stephen Bigelow. And so went over to his house, and I had always heard about absinthe and found out that I could actually go buy it. So when we bought it, we bought the bottle and it came with the absinthe spoon. And I know we're going to get into that later on, so I won't let that go. And we bought the sugar cubes and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Nobody else liked it. So fast forward to the only other time I've had it, I had it in a little kind of makeshift speakeasy in Utah. Used to be a speakeasy. Now, of course, it's not a speakeasy anymore, but they kind of kept that speakeasy feel, and had a really good experience with the absinthe there. I'm pretty sure the absinthe I had in Utah versus what I bought, because you know me, I bought the cheapest bottle I could find.
Right.
I'm pretty sure the absinthe I had in Utah at this little speakeasy was some pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Now, even the cheapest absinthe is still pretty expensive.
True.
You know.
Well, and yeah, when I saw the prices on it, obviously I went for the cheapest bottle.
Yeah. You need to decide to treat yourself if you are indeed going to invest. And here come the police now. We didn't mean it about stealing downloads.
Can you hear it?
Can you hear it? Driven past.
Are they past? Okay, good. Thank you to the Fort Worth police for watching out for crime. We are not advocating crime. We know that there is absolutely no possible way you're hearing this right now because we haven't put it on the internet yet, but you never know with the government. Maybe the Fort Worth police snuck in a microphone in here.
Maybe.
It could have happened.
Yeah. So I thought to cover the general public's views and questions on absinthe, I should do what we normally do, and that's consult Google.
Right.
And so I started typing in absinthe, then as usual, the autocorrect stuff came up.
Sure.
So I figured what I'd do, I'll take those first 5 questions, which are suggested in autocorrect, run with them, because I think that'll probably give a broad base of information, which they can't really blame on us.
Now,
because we're just repeating it.
So as you typed this in, did you remember how to spell absinthe?
Eventually, yeah.
Okay, good. But did Google help you out a little bit with that?
Well, first of all, when the suggestions started coming up of why I should avoid sex, I realized I'd spelled absinthe wrong.
Right, yeah.
Because that's abstinence, and that's not the same thing, apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Yeah. So, first question, why is absinthe so bad? That should put you at ease if you're a little bit hesitant in trying it.
Yeah, but why is absinthe so bad? I mean, that could be taken a couple of different ways. Why is absinthe so bad as far as the taste?
Right.
Or why is absinthe so bad as in what could it do to you?
Yeah.
I wonder who was typing that. I wonder what they meant behind that.
Absinthe has often been portrayed as a dangerously addictive psychoactive drug and hallucinogen, which is why I went out and bought the first bottle. I think that line kind of convinced me I need to go out and buy it.
Honestly, I think my first, experience when I went to buy it was kind of along those similar lines.
Yeah.
Like, oh, wait, this is supposed to do
Is
this?
this a dare?
and I can literally go down to the store and buy this?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
game.
Yeah.
Let's try.
Yeah. It's a Tuesday. There's only, 4 more days of work left, including today.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the chemical compound thujone, which I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but that's what we're going with, which is present in the spirit in trace amounts, was blamed for its alleged harmful effects. So that is why absinthe is so bad.
Because of that thujone.
Thujone.
Wow.
Yeah. It sounded like it'd make a great kind of supervillain in the Avengers.
No,
movies.
that's exactly what I was just thinking right now, is that
Thujone.
it does sound like a comic book villain.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Yeah. Although I'll probably be cheering for him.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Especially if he has anything to do with absinthe.
Yeah.
What if his sidekick is an absinthe distiller? Like Batman has the Batcave, right? So what if Thujone, the supervillain, makes all his money from selling absinthe, and he's making it like in the basement?
Yeah. Kind of like a meth lab.
Yeah.
Absinthe.
But legal.
Yeah, legal.
That's the only thing he does legal, because he's
illegal amounts of thujone.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because he is a super villain, not a superhero.
Yeah.
So he's got to do something bad
Right,
to get him started.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Maybe he could drive a gas guzzling vehicle or something to kind of put a bad slant on him.
True.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics, for that, we will accept cash of what? I don't know, $72.
No, crate of absinthe.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right. So, second question, is absinthe legal in the United States? It is indeed legal in the United States, and it has been legal in all states since 2007, but it comes with regulated thujone levels.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So, who's the thujone tester?
Um,
Maybe that's a career path we should have went down.
Yeah. They'd probably get through a few of them, because you can't work consecutive days.
Sure, not only that, but if you're the thujone tester and then you find too much, and you're like, oh, sorry, nope, this is no good, and then you take it home.
Yeah.
You know,
It'd be one
because
of
they're
those
just going to throw
work 1 day, 3 days off type jobs.
That's a perfect work from home job.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because you can, drink the absinthe that has too much thusium and then drop the bottle, take a picture of the broken bottle and just, pour some water around it and say, sorry, I know this is my 7th bottle that I broke this week, but I wasn't able to test the thusium levels in this one, so you better send me another one.
Yeah. Now, at this point, after the first 2 questions, people obviously started getting worried. So question number 3, can absinthe kill you?
Yes.
Yes. It's now known that wormwood, or at least some varieties of it, contain thusium, which can indeed cause seizures and death. But the alcohol in absinthe would kill you long before you drank enough to get the other effects.
That sounds like one of those challenges.
It sounds like another challenge.
Yeah.
So kids on TikTok.
Oh, yes.
This is, instead of trying to strangle yourselves until you pass out, because asphyxiation is not cool, try drinking lots of absinthe.
Yes.
Yes.
The Absinthe Challenge on TikTok.
The Absinthe Challenge, yeah.
Sponsored by Reebok.
Yeah. Right. Now, I know at this
point... Oh,
wait.
Sponsored by Nike.
Yeah, because we don't like them either.
Yeah. Sorry, Reebok. You got a raw deal on Jerry Maguire for that deal, so we'll let you slide. Yeah. The Absinthe Challenge, which you die from quicker, sponsored by Nike.
Yeah.
Yep.
Brilliant.
I love it.
So I know what about 75% of our listeners are thinking at the moment. Where can we buy large quantities of wormwood and pure thusium?
Yes.
Yeah. So it would be irresponsible for me.
Honestly,
to get the
it might be 75% of our listeners, but it's 50% of the people recording this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've already done the research, so we already know.
Yeah. So it would be irresponsible for me to tell people where they can get thusium from. But you can buy wormwood on eBay and on Amazon. And remember, wormwood contains thusium. So without putting 2 and 2 together for people, if you want more thusium, perhaps buy more of the thing that contains the thusium.
Right.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of the deal. It was back during the Prohibition, where there were guys that were selling bricks of grapes that were already dehydrated or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And on the instructions on the package, it said, do not do the following with this or you will create wine.
Right.
And so it was that old, just kind of get around it. Like they called it a warning, but they were literally telling people how to take this home and what to do to make their own wine.
Yeah. That always makes me laugh about when they talk about any type of psychoactive ingredient in almost any product, and they say, it's regulated, so if you only have one of these, you only get 5% of this, and it takes 12% for it to have this effect. It's like, no way am I taking 3.
That's right. Yeah. I will definitely follow that warning label.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you want to reach this effect, definitely don't take 3 of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like, they say you should not drink alcohol when you're pregnant or while operating heavy machinery.
Right.
I'd like to see a pregnant person drink a glass of alcohol while operating heavy machinery. Not that I advocate alcohol fetal syndrome or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just think that'd be funny.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of pregnant women operating heavy machinery.
Well, you know what it's like once they get pregnant. It's just like any excuse to just sit on their ass.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Chinese have got the right idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So how does absinthe make you feel? That's question number 4, by the way. I'm not getting personal with the shepherd there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how does it make you feel? Yeah. So people are confused about what alcohol does, or are they a little bit confused because of absinthe and all the mystery behind it?
Well, it is a little bit different. I mean, I have quite a lot of lucid dreams as it is, but on absinthe, you have extended dreams which seem to last for hours upon hours upon hours, and then when you wake up, it takes about 20 or 30 minutes to kind of fully convince yourself you're not still dreaming. I mean, it really does have effects way past when the alcohol wears off.
Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Once again, that they're saying there's nothing really there, but there's something there.
Oh, there definitely is. I mean, me and my girlfriend, we used to drink about half a bottle each of it and then take a walk around Grapevine Lake here in North Texas at about 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the morning. And it would mess with your head. Like every sight, every sound was amplified, and it really gave you a kind of freaky experience. But
So what you're telling me is our buddy Frank Kane ought to go out on one of his Bigfoot hunts and drink some absinthe first.
Yeah.
Then he's going to find Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So Frank, we know you're listening. There's your assignment.
Yeah.
You know, you need to do the Bigfoot hunt that you want to do on absinthe.
Yeah. So the Google answers that question about how does absinthe make you feel with absinthe is an extremely potent liquor. Which is incorrect, by the way. It's not a liquor. Believed to cause hallucinations along with intense euphoria. It's also believed to have other dangerous consequences, such as those caused from acute alcohol intoxication.
Well, now, when you say it's not a liquor, do you mean it's not a liqueur?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you pronounce that word the same, liqueur and liquor?
No.
Oh. You just misread it.
Yep.
Okay.
It's maybe because I didn't put the E on the end of it, because I think liqueur has an E on the end, doesn't it?
No, it's in the middle somewhere. I think it still ends with an R.
Does it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, you might be right.
Yeah. Well, so big surprise that it's actually from the alcohol intoxication.
Right. So question 5, you knew eventually somebody was going to ask this. Will absinthe or thujone show up in a drugs test?
No, you know what? That's a fair enough question.
Yeah.
First of all, we all know alcohol will show up in a urine test.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, most times when you take a drug test, they're not really checking for that unless you're like a truck driver, got in an accident, and they want to send you off for that, right? But thujone, so I'm kind of curious.
Well, it's structurally related to THC, but it won't show up, they can't tell whether they've had absinthe or wormwood. It won't show up in any drugs test. And obviously the alcohol content will, but they can't tell that you specifically had wormwood, thujone, and absinthe on it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. You figured it would be, if this thujone is so scary, right? You'd think that would be on kind of a list of drugs or whatever that you would check somebody for.
It's illegal to actually sell kind of like pure thujone. So, I mean, it's like a lot of things. I mean, there's some things which get banned, which are actually perfectly legal. I mean, some athletes can't have too much cough syrup. They can't have too much caffeine because it's a performance-enhancing drug. I don't think thujone can really be accused of being performance-enhancing. Probably the opposite.
Right. Well, it's like that poor horse that won the Kentucky Derby last week, and then they tested him and he had too much steroids. Like, man, it's a horse. Yeah. Like, he didn't have the choice. So why are you taking this out on that poor horse? Yeah. Do you think that horse took his little hooves and says, I want to shoot this up in my arm and make me stronger? No, it wasn't the horse. It was his owners and everything else if they had too much. So why are you after the horse? Why are you trying to be so mean to this horse and it wasn't his fault?
Do you think his raging erect penis gave the game away?
That's a possibility.
Yeah. So I suppose other than encouraging the audience to go out and buy some absinthe with their first available leftover of the stimulus check, we probably should add a little bit more educational element to it, just to let people know about absinthe, where it came from, how long it's been about, why people got pissed and banned it, all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's dive into that.
Yeah. So did you know that early forms of absinthe, or I think it's more kind of drinkable wormwood then, actually goes back to biblical times?
No.
Yeah.
You're kidding.
Yep. I would have figured there'd be like warning against it in the New Testament, but there wasn't.
Right. So absinthe was in the Bible, or wormwood was in the Bible?
Well, it's made out of wormwood.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So they weren't making.
It's made out of.
Yeah. I got you. But so the Bible's basically talking about the wormwood. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, isn't they, when they talk about that comet in the sky, with like the end of times, isn't that called like wormwood? Because it's got something to do with bitter taste, or the snake, or something like that.
No, that's in Revelation.
It is called wormwood, right?
Yes,
and it turns the water on the earth bitter or something like
that.
Right.
Yeah. Which basically, really up on my, well, I'm pretty sure when John was writing that, on his little island there in Patmos, kind of like on an island with Pat Beeman, but on an island, Saint John of Patmos.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just didn't like black licorice.
Well, I wonder if he'd been drinking absinthe, because that would make a lot more sense given some of the imagery he used.
Well, not only that, but he could have, looked over and was like, what do I want to call this? Looks over his bottle of absinthe. He's like, wormwood. Yeah, that's cool. Even the greatest writers get writer's block every now and then. So maybe that's what it was.
Yeah. Despite being known as the Green Fairy, absinthe can also be colorless.
Really?
Yeah.
I know both the times that I've had the absinthe, that I, by the way, remember, it was green. It was not clear.
Yeah. I've never seen clear absinthe.
I think even
I think
when
somebody's been trying to sell some vodka and passing it off as absinthe.
Oh, like basically boosting up the price and saying this
meth or something.
Yeah. That's smart marketing, though.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
So if that's what they're doing, more power to you.
Yeah.
Keep it up.
Yeah. So
just make sure your sponsor is Nike.
Yeah. So it's not traditionally bottled with added sugar, which is why it's not a liqueur. So technically it's a spirit.
Yeah.
And see, that's how you spell liqueur there.
Oh, yeah, you spelt it right on this piece of paper.
Yeah, I know. Amazing, isn't it?
Good for you.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know why I spelled it wrong? Because I copied it off that same article, which called it a liqueur. So it's inaccurate in that. So they couldn't even spell what it was actually
There you
not.
go. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's blame others for our mistakes.
Unless they did mean that it's a liquor, as in a liquor.
Oh.
Yeah. Maybe
it could have been.
Maybe they were right.
Okay. Well, we won't blame them.
Screw them. So we've learned something today then. Admittedly, it's about alcohol again, but it's a good start.
Yeah, but, that's a recurring theme,
Yeah.
especially with a beer sponsor for our podcast. I mean, we're not afraid of alcohol, so, we're going to talk about it.
Did you know absinthe was given to French troops in the 1840s to prevent malaria?
No kidding.
Yeah.
So this is, pre-quinine, so kind of wish I would have had some absinthe with me when I went to Papua New Guinea and got malaria.
Well,
I wonder if that would have worked.
Well, it sounds like it would kill COVID then as well, because that key component in the malaria medicine is also
that's true.
Quinine stuff as well. It's,
all right, somebody call Q and tell them that
we found the cure for COVID.
We did
it's absinthe.
Yeah. Please give us credit for that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what wars the French were actually involved in back in the 1840s, but giving them absinthe to prevent malaria sounds suspiciously like me pouring vodka into the cat's water dish to prevent feline AIDS.
But okay, so follow me on this one. What if the absinthe led the French to surrender all the time because they didn't really know where they were?
True. Yeah.
There might be, we might need to do some military history research, because I don't remember how many battles the French lost after whatever it was, 1840. But that's kind of when the surrendering started, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the colonies, they called for France for help, then you had the French Revolution. And then after that, I think it was this period of time when they started surrendering in battles all the time.
Well, the last decent thing they did before that was helping us defeat the British, obviously, in America.
Well, no, I mean, it was after that was the French Revolution. So that was the last thing they did right.
But they surrendered to themselves.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you know in England they're called the cheese-eating surrender monkeys? That's a good name for the French.
Cheese-eating surrender monkeys.
Yeah.
That's
kind of rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So absinthe is approximately 50% stronger than vodka. So I think any of you people out there who smuggle hip flasks into certain establishments, it's quite obvious what you should be kind of smuggling in.
No, that makes total sense, right? I mean, more bang for your buck.
Yeah.
So why not, right?
Yeah. So Oscar Wilde once said of absinthe, after the first glass of absinthe, you see things you wish they were. See things as you wish they were. After the second, you see them as they are not. Finally, you see things as they really are, and that is the most horrible thing in the world. That sounds a bit depressing.
Yeah.
I thought he was supposed to be all light and gay.
Well, not only that, but now you got to be saying to yourself, okay, well, there's definitely a cutoff time for absinthe.
Right.
Like, you just can't continuously drink it. You got to stop, which point, that old Oscar there is saying, hey, if you want to see things this way, you drink 1, 2, but after 2, no mas.
It'd have been better off having Delta 8, really.
Probably.
Yeah, it'd have been happier, I think. Mind you, he's also quoted as asking, what difference is there between a glass of absinthe and a sunset? Well, I'll name a few things, mate, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think absinthe gives off any light, but it can keep you warm. And I'm pretty sure you can't pour any on a solar panel and get free electricity.
We don't know that. I'm actually waging that might be a possibility.
It could be.
Like
I mean, if it's going to cure COVID, then why not provide free energy?
So I'm not going to go through the recipe and procedure right at the moment, okay? But if anybody wants to know, look it up on Google. And it's pretty simple to actually make your own absinthe because you can buy the ingredients for it and the process. You don't need a big laboratory or lots of space or anything. And so guess what we're going to do this summer?
Oh,
we're going to have an absinthe making camp. We're going to invite all the kids from the local middle schools. They're going to come out. They're going to make absinthe and give it to us. I'm wondering,
do we have some kind of contest of who can make the best absinthe?
Yeah.
I mean, and then what? So, like, first prize in this contest, right?
Yeah.
You know, the kids from the school that come out, they make the absinthe. First prize in the contest, they get their absinthe bottled under our label.
Right.
So now we had somebody else do the work for us. Now we have private label absinthe, and this kid just takes that as a reward, saying, "Hey, I won this contest at this," and then we make all the money selling the absinthe.
Oh, sounds like God is angry with this idea from the thunder, which is just coming. Or maybe that is Thor's next antagonist, Thurjone.
Yeah. Oh, that. Ooh. Oh, see, we know Hollywood is running out of ideas, but we don't need to be helping them right now. No. It's not like they're helping us.
No, they're not.
Now, if Hollywood wants to help us, then yeah, you can have that idea.
Yeah. Now, there was actually an anti-absinthe movement which started in Europe, and it all started with this guy called Jean Lanfray. You know, it's like one of those French names. It really says Jean,
right?
But it's pronounced Jean.
Well, so basically what you're telling me with this is we found the first Karen in the modern century. I mean, this guy must have went out there.
No, he didn't start it. It was based upon something he did.
Oh, yeah. I thought he started it.
No,
oh,
they haven't named and shamed the person who started it.
Okay, but before you go on, though, I mean, we are at least talking about one of those times in history where you didn't need social media, you didn't need any of this. There's going to be a group get behind some kind of movement no matter what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's where you're going with this?
Well, I think they were just a bit bored, to be honest, because once you actually listen to the points in it, I don't know if it's enough to start a whole movement, but, you know,
true.
This is about 10 years, 15 years away from the start of World War I, so they didn't really have much else to do.
Yeah, that was a boring time.
Took their mind off it.
Gotcha.
So the anti-absinthe movement started when Jean Lanfray from Switzerland murdered his entire family in 1905. Now, it doesn't say how many people were in his family, so I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to be impressed or not, but...
Right. Yeah, so you caught me off guard with that one because I thought we were just talking about, you know, somebody being upset and starting this movement in this guy's memory, but... Yeah, I didn't think we were going to be talking about murder.
Right. Murder most foul.
Oh.
He claimed he didn't recall the events because he was under the influence of absinthe. His lawyers actually used absinthe madness as his defense. The press dubbed it as the Absinthe Murders.
Oh, the Absinthe Murders. So that's what started the movement, right?
Yeah.
So you got the media involved, right? And they put a spin on it and they say, hey, wasn't his fault, blame it on the absinthe.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Nobody can have their absinthe anymore.
Yeah.
That's terrible how we spin certain things.
Yeah. But
like
he was actually found guilty, though, despite that watertight defense.
Well,
he was found guilty.
Okay, I thought he had been found innocent.
No.
And then that's where the protest started because, I got you.
No, he was found guilty and then he hung himself in his prison cell 3 days later. Unlike Jeffrey Epstein.
True.
Yeah. So there was a petition which started this anti-absinthe movement, and it said, absinthe makes you crazy and criminal, provokes epilepsy and tuberculosis, and has killed thousands of French people.
How do you get tuberculosis from absinthe?
Well, I don't know. It sounded very similar to why California banned plastic straws to me.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So it took about 95 years for the United States to realize that claim might be a little bit exaggerated and was probably ironically written by somebody who had been drinking absinthe.
Yeah, almost 100 years to actually fact check a story.
Yeah.
When, I mean, today you put something on the internet and it gets fact checked in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's got something going with that. So, well... We encourage you, if you are of legal age, of course, to go out and try some absinthe and let us know what you think. Send us an email, and that will do it for this episode of The Wolf and the Shepherd. We appreciate your support, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Wolf and the Shepherd podcast. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, thewolfandtheshepherd.com, to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes when you get a chance. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for additional content. Join us next time for another episode of The Wolf and the Shepherd.